What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is the last DIY video related to my 100,000 mile service on the BMW 328i of the F30 generation. This is the Serpentine belt. So I have the air box out just to give a better view. You don't have to, if you have the stock air box, you're going to have to get it out. But for my case, with the aftermarket intake, it's really not necessary. This is going to be a pretty straightforward DIY. I was reading a little bit online that some people do have problems with breaking off the 16 millimeter bolt here, so we're going to really try to make sure that doesn't happen. But essentially all we're going to have to do is loosen the tension on the old tensioner, take off the belt. This old belt is, it looks all right. It looks like it's starting to show some wear, but after doing this coolant flange, I spilled coolant all over it. So now it's probably pretty much time to change it. So that's partly why I want to do the coolant flange first. That's why I had to hold off on doing this for a little bit. I had to wait for that flange to come. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this. So we're going to take the tension off, and then we're going to remove the belt, take out the old tensioner, which is just held in by, you can see 1, 2, right there, and then down here 3. I think they're E10s. You can also use an 8 millimeter 12 point. It'll work to get it off. They're not torqued down very tightly. They're pretty small bolts. I think the torque spec is 19 Newton meters, I think. So that's very low torque. So we'll go ahead and get this out. Also, you're going to want to observe the layout of the belt, maybe even to draw out a diagram for yourself. So we have the tensioner here. The belt goes on the bottom, and the smooth side of the belt hits the tensioner. We go up over the alternator, down over the AC pulley, and then over to the crank pulley, and all sides of those have the rib side on it. So the only one that the smooth side goes on is the tensioner. It's only 4 pulleys because so much of the stuff on this car is electric. And right here is my completely flawless 2-scale and accurate in every way possible diagram of the belt layout. So just for a better view, you got your crank here, tensioner, alternator, and AC, and rib on everything except for the tensioner. So now I'm going to loosen that tensioner and we will get the belt up. There we go. There we go. That's the old belt. Now you can see it, oh, maybe it wasn't all right. That part there doesn't look very good. So, you see it's starting to fray. I'm glad this was a good time to get this belt off. So this is 100,000 miles original belt, as far as I'm aware. So we have new belts that came with the tensioner. I think it would be fine to reuse the old belts, but bolts, but since we have new ones, we're gonna use them. One in the middle is kind of hidden, but a little extension, and it's no problem. Just like that, we have the old tensioner out. So you can see the reason we changed them together is because the belt and the tensioner wear together, and you can kind of see like there's little bumps on it even. So no bearing noise, it seems fine, but they come as an item and they are replaced together. So go ahead and do that. So one of the things I really like about the BMW tensioners is they come with a pin here. So I've only really changed belts on like one car that wasn't a BMW before, and it didn't have this. You had to manually hold tension on this while you installed it. So it was not nearly as pleasant. This is nice. So when you're done, you just put a little bit of force on to loosen the tension, and you just pop it out and everything just goes into place. I also read online that it was easier if you installed the belt first. I don't know, I've never done this car before, but we're gonna do that, and then we'll put the tensioner in afterwards. Just lining everything up, and it all sort of just kind of pops into place. You put a little tension with your hand on it to make sure it's in the grooves. Got the new bolts right here. And obviously you want to install it the same way the old one came out. it always pays to have one of these. I got this on Amazon like last Black Friday or something when it was on sale. I mean, you could pick them up at Harbor Freight. You could pick them up pretty much at any auto store. But yeah, it pays to have one of these because the socket came, my E10 fell off and I had to go fishing it out. Let's go to 19 Newton meters, or if you're like me, Guten tight. All right, so that is in. The last thing we need to do is go ahead and release tension, pull that pin, and we are done. This is that easy. Just gonna go through one more time, make sure we're in the grooves on all of these. And pretty much, I see why they say to put this in after, the belt in first and then put the tensioner on, because it puts enough tension on it now that it basically is in the grooves. If you pull on the belt, every pulley turns. We will go ahead and release tension once I figure out where I put my breaker bar. Once again, we're going to pull towards the right to cause the pulley to swing out. We'll pull that pin. Oh, you don't need to pull it very far. And then you just let it go. And it is on there. I think the reason that people were shearing the bolt is they were pulling way too hard. This is the little pin. You just need to give it a little pull, and when you feel it just slightly move, pull the pin. So you can see right there, the new tensioner is in. It is holding everything in line. We're on the pulleys. You can see the crank pulley down there. So the next thing to do is just start her up, make sure everything's good to go. Let me go ahead and put the box back in, the air box and everything. I feel confident in this so that I won't have to remove it again. And then I'll be right back and we'll start the car. Okay, I've reattached the air box and now we're gonna go ahead and start the car, make sure everything's good. I have no reason to believe it won't be. And you can see the belt doing its thing. So that is how you install the Serpentine belt and new belt tensioner on a 2016 BMW 328i. This will be the same for any car with the N20 motor, N26, which is actually what this one is. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.